Hello! Welcome back to another episode of Truth Seekers Radio. This is a podcast put on by yours truly, Dr. Kenny Williamson. Today, we're going to be talking about acting. That's what the title means when we refer to, that's what a thespian is. A thespian is an actor. And if you don't remember, I mean, maybe you've never seen it, but years ago, there was an old Saturday Night Live skit called Master Thespian. And in this skit, anytime, something would happen and he would pretend to be hurt or something or whatever, somebody would be like, "Oh my gosh, are you okay?" And he would say, "Acting," because that's what he did, right? So that's what we're going to talk about today, is all of the acting around, okay? And I'll go ahead and play you the skit just so you can kind of get an idea what I'm talking about in case you've never heard it. Okay, hold on one second and I'll play that for you. I've got that right here, so let me switch screens, see if you can see it. You should be able to see it. Now let's see if you can hear it in just 1 second.
Have I hurt you?
Don't be silly. Acting!
Brilliant!
Thank you!
Thank you! Have I hurt you?
Don't be silly. Acting!
Brilliant!
Thank you!
Thank you! Have I hurt you?
Go.
Don't be silly. Acting!
Brilliant!
Thank you!
Thank you!
Yes, so that was it. Acting. He did that in every skit. So why do I bring that up? Well, let me get this first here. Is it trying to run away on me? Actually, let me just go ahead and close this thing here real quick. So, why have I said that? Well, what we're talking about today is actors, and I was talking with somebody yesterday, and this is a person that they're very smart person, and they're very logical. However, they do believe in the globe, and they believe anything the news says, more or less, right? So, and there's a lot of people out there like that. They think that whatever you see on TV is the truth. Well, television, tell you a vision, okay, is fake. And most everything you see on there is acting, okay? Thespians is what you're seeing. So how do we know this? Well, anyway, I was talking to this guy about it, and we were talking about this latest Artemis mission, right? And he believes it. So I showed him the video of the main guy, the director, the acting director of NASA, who says he's talking, and you can Google this, and he talks about how he got two of his astronauts. He says two of the astronauts are directly out of central casting. Okay. So he said that, not me. The guy over NASA says two of our astronauts are directly out of central casting. Okay, well, guess what central casting is? It's exactly what you would think it is. Central casting casts actors in roles. So central casting, has all kinds of actors doing stuff. So my question is, why would you get two astronauts? Why would you get them from an acting place? Would you? Now, maybe you would if they're acting and they're not really astronauts, right? Okay, well, it just so happens two of the people have looked into these astronauts. One of them, the black guy, he was apparently in some kind of a Netflix thing, Netflix movie deal made by Netflix. And the woman who was, focused a whole lot, always featured a lot, she, come to find out, looks like she was in one of the Mad Max movies. So she's an actor, and he's an actor. And that would probably explain why when she gets out of the fake spaceship, she goes and she's supposedly telling people what she saw, and she's walking around stage. I mean, just laughing, joking, skipping around, and she's clearly got an earpiece in her ear, and they're telling her everything to say because she doesn't know what to say because she wasn't really there. It's all fake. It's all acting, you see? And so she forgets her lines or doesn't know her lines to begin with, and the earpiece stops, so she clearly listens, and she's like, takes a long pause and says, oh, there's a problem here, and then starts rambling on because she doesn't know what to say. So then a couple of days later, they show her going through rehab, and she supposedly can't walk, and she's falling and stumbling. You can see that it's fake. Any fool can see that it's fake. And they've got two people, on either side of her trying to hold her and stuff. And the one guy, he's got a little GoPro strapped to his forehead because that's what you do. Somebody is in rehab, you film it on a GoPro off your head, right? Isn't that what you do? Isn't that what your doctor does, is film you with his GoPro when he's working on you or anything? So, yeah, fake. She's acting. She wasn't really sick, okay? She wasn't really not able to walk because she previously was filmed walking just fine. Now, all of a sudden, she can't walk due to the weightlessness of outer space. Okay? So, it's as fake as it gets. I don't see how any person with a brain in their head could not realize that. Right? And this is what I've been saying for years. This, all of it, fake. Well, Elon Musk, right? Of course, I'm not saying Elon Musk, everything he says is, the gospel by any means. But Elon Musk mentioned on X, he posted that AOC. Now, AOC, what's her name? I've got her name here. Cortez, whatever her actual name is here. I'll think of it here in a second. It's written down here. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She's one of the Democrats. She's a woman Democrat. I guess she's in Congress. She's an actor. Okay. She all of a sudden showed up. People have seen the videos, and I can post one here if you want to see it, of her dancing around in college. She was a bartender at a restaurant. That's what her profession was. But somebody thought, well, she's dark-skinned. Okay. They think that she's pretty good looking. She's slim. And guess what else she is? She's a lunatic, left, liberal nut job. So, perfect, right? So what they did, and a lot of people don't know this, but I've got it here. They admit to it. Okay, this is not me making this up. So Elon Musk posted and he said, AOC is an actor. They call her AOC. And she's really not the problem, but it's her handlers. They're the ones that are insane. So AOC is a dimwit. Okay, she's not because she's a woman, okay, but she is an imbecile. She doesn't know anything. She's being told everything to say. Why? Because she's a thespian. She's an actor. And what is she doing? She's acting. That's what she's doing. And she's not even a very good actor. But she don't have to be, because anytime you deal with a lunatic devil, that's in this case, a Democrat, because you got to understand, Democrats 10 or 20 years ago were normal people. The Democrats of today are communists, liars, and devils. That's all they do. All they're interested in is, butchering people and unaliving babies. That's their whole goal. Okay? One of them, or there's some of them. So, AOC, okay, Alexandria, she was chosen to be in Congress by a Democrat casting call. Remember? Central casting. Casting is acting for actors. The Democrats had a casting call. Why do you think they did that? Well, see, the thing is, these people that are up there on the stage, like you see them if you watch that junk, the one old woman with the big round glasses that are pink or some wild color and her hair's dyed pink or purple or blue, and she's up there talking. She doesn't have any clue what she's even talking about. She's another paid actor because they don't have a brain in their heads. They don't have enough sense to actually do anything. But see, that's what these guys want. These governments, 3-letter governments, they want people like that there. And I've told you this before, they're a talking head. They're a puppet. They're a puppet on a string. That's what they are. And if you don't believe me, well, like just like the director of NASA says, hey, two of our astronauts came from central casting. He said it himself. So here we have the information. Musk mentioned it, and all you've got to do is Google it. It's true. And we even have videos to back it up. So she answered a casting call. So basically what she is, she's a political actor that was picked out of 10,000 applicants, according to them. So, and here's the kicker. AOC wasn't even smart enough to apply. She didn't know anything about it. And I'm sure if she did see it, she'd be like, well, I'm a bartender, at a restaurant. Why obviously I have no qualifications to be a congresswoman. None whatsoever. So she didn't even apply. Her brother applied for her. He just randomly sent it in and said, hey, I think my sister would be a good one. Well, why? Well, because she's a lunatic left liberal devil. So let me fill her name out and send it in. And that's what he did. So AOC's brother submitted her application, and she was chosen, let's see here, by the Executive Director of Justice. That's the name of this little group. Democrats out of 10,000 candidates. And so we have two different ones, a lady confirming that's what they did, and then AOC confirming that's how she got chosen. So what does this tell you? Okay, what this means is that Alexandria Cortez is not really the congresswoman of New York's 14th congressional district. She's an actress. So who's telling her what to say? Actors and actresses follow scripts. We know what her script is. Okay, it's what, the Green New Deal, where everybody has to shut off their air conditioners. All cars have to be gotten rid of. All houses have to be completely rebuilt and re-insulated and yada, yada, yada by 2030. The Green New Deal. You're not allowed to have any gasoline. All engines need to be, all cars need to be electric in a few years. And if there's no electric to charge them and you can't afford the car, oh, well, then you just need to sit there. The Green New Deal, which is a scam. Well, she supposedly, was one of the ones that submitted that. She doesn't have enough brains to submit anything. She's a puppet on a string. Another actor. Another face person. So, yes, if something goes wrong, she can take the fall too, right? Because the person pulling the strings behind her, you're never going to see them. They're hidden. So, she's merely playing the part of a New York congresswoman because she's an actor. And I know that sounds crazy, of course, but that's what's going on around you. So it's God knows how many of them are actors. Probably all of them. I believe that Musk himself is an actor. He's a puppet on a string. The guy that runs Facebook, Zuckerberg. All of them are puppets. They're not really smart. They've come up with nothing. But the fake news tells you that they have. You see, but what we've got actors fighting against actors. Now, why? Well, they have the reasons. Number one is they want to divide people, and that's for more control. You have to understand that. the devil is ultimately in control of this whole thing. Okay? And he is using, it's like the old saying, you know, you've got your left wing and you've got your right wing. You've got, in this case, your lunatic left, and you've got your, you know, the Democrats, and you've got your Republicans, which are on the right. Your left and your right wing people. But the old saying is, those are both wings. The left wing and the right wing are both from the same bird. You see? So in the middle, the bird that's running it, both wings belong to them. In this case, the one in the middle, the bird, is Satan. And he's got his wings spread. He's got his left wing and he's got his right wing. You see what I mean? So the reason you're going to hear all this stuff is because right now Elon is on the right wing and AOC is on the left wing. So, of course, there's going to be problems. But he's calling her an actor, and we know that she is, and they admit it. But so is he, but they're never going to admit that. But anyway, so let's see here. So in 2017, a group called the Justice Democrats, if you can imagine that, their only justice they're interested for is for themselves and for illegals. Other than that, there's no justice. But the Justice Democrats, they held auditions for potential congressional candidates that they would run on their platform for various congressional seats throughout the country. And Alexandra Cortez's brother, Gabriel, his name is Gabriel, submitted her for the role. And they picked her. So apparently they received over 10,000 nominations, and, you know, he submitted her, and basically they trained her and installed her as their candidate. So in other words, you don't have to know anything, right? So I don't know how much they're paying her to be this actor, but if it's like the others, you know, she'll have a salary of a couple $100,000 or less, and she'll be a multimillionaire real soon, somehow. The money comes in from somewhere, right? Well, we know where it comes from because they money launder. That's all they do. So let's see. I have a video here of her talking. Let me get it pulled up for you. Okay, I believe I've got that here. Let me get it pulled up just so you can, if you can see that. It's probably pretty small, but I think you should be able to hear it. Let's try it. Well, hold on.
Back in 2016, we put out a call for nominations. We got over 10,000 nominations. Out of those 10,000 nominations, we found Alexandria.
My brother told me that he had sent my nomination in the summer, but I was like literally working out of a restaurant then. I was like, there's no way.
A casting.
Yeah, there you go. So I was literally working out of a restaurant as a bartender, by the way. She goes, and there's like no way. So she didn't even put her own name into it. Okay. She's an actor. We knew it. I've known it since the beginning. These other ones are actors as well. And that's the people that are, you know, running around supposedly in control, if you will. Oh, boy. Can you imagine that? So I've got another one here, a picture to show you. And this is another example. Okay. This is how everything's tied together if you don't understand what I'm talking about. Okay. This is a picture here. Now, if you know anything, we have supposedly in New York right now, they voted in a communist mayor, Mayor Mondami. Okay, and he basically came in right off the bat and said, hey, I don't like white people. If you're white, you're going to get taxed more. If I don't like your, so now he's like saying he's closing businesses down and just taking people's property. Supposedly he was voted in. Well, we know how the votes go, right? It's not who does the votes, it's who counts the votes. So whoever counted the votes in this case said he was the winner, right? So you're thinking, well, he's a communist guy. I don't know how he got in, yada, yada, yada. Again, Satan is running that over there. He's running New York too, okay? And he wants to divide, steal, kill, conquer, the whole 9 yards, right? So you're like, oh, this Mandami, you know, blah, blah, blah. Well, here's a picture of Mandami. See if it will show it to you. It's going to be an interesting picture here. Here's a picture of Mandami. There he is when he was young. He's circled there. You see who he's with? Oh, there's old Jeffrey Epstein, got his hand on his back, and right to the next to Epstein is the woman that helped him, Gilstein or whatever her name is. And then right on the other side, well, there's old Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton's in the picture right there with him. And guess who's next to Bill Clinton? Well, Bill Gates. Bill Gates is next to him. And guess who's to the right of him over here? You can barely see him, but that sure looks like the guy that owns Amazon. So we've got the owner of Amazon, Bill Gates, Bill Clinton, and Jeffrey Epstein, and Maxwell, and Mayor Mondami all in the same picture, all big smiles on their faces. And that's when Mondami was young. See, he was a young man there. He was a boy. So is there any wonder he's with Epstein and Clinton? Is there any wonder? Well, that's what they like, are young boys. So there he is. He's a young boy. He's with all the pedos that like young boys. And he's right there with Bill Gates, too. Right there with the guy that owns Amazon. What is that? Bezos? Jeff Bezos? Is that his name? All together in the same picture with big smiles on their faces. How do you think that happens? Well, let me tell you. Everybody in that picture, I'm sure, well, we know every one of them is on an Epstein list. Clinton, along with others, you know, went to Epstein Island 20, 30 times. Then you've got these other two guys over here, like old Gates and stuff. You know, they weren't necessarily, they might have been on the list, but some of those guys are not on the list. You want to know why? Because they flew their own airplanes down there. They didn't ride on his airplane, so they didn't get on the list on the you know, Lolita Express list, because they have their own private jets. So they flew their own jets down there to play with their little kids or do whatever they're doing down there. So Bill Clinton there, I mean, come on now, he's from Arkansas, that's where I'm from, but where he's from down there, anybody that tried to run against him or anything, they turned up unalived. And so now we're up to like 50 or 60 people that have been unalived that have tried to either go against or say something, you know, go to court and be a witness against the guy. They're all unalived. They all committed suicide. You know, it's one of those things where you find a couple of, over down here in Arkansas, you find a couple of bodies with a couple of bullet holes laying on the railroad tracks, but they committed suicide. Everybody committed suicide. So that's what he's involved in. Of course, you know his wife, Hillary. Everything they do is with their money laundering, the pedophilia. That's what they are. They're devils. They're going to burn in hell for it, but they're going to get exactly what's coming to them. Don't worry. But right now, they get to live high on that hog, don't they? And then, of course, we've got Bill Gates right next to him. What's he into? Well, same thing. Likes little kids. Then he also wants to reduce population. That's all he talks about. And he's one of the big guys behind the vaccines. Take more. Take them all. He wants you to get bitten by a rattlesnake. Other countries are trying to sue him and put him in jail for it because of all the deaths. But, you know, somehow he can skirt around it because why? Well, he's in this same group right here, isn't he? And then we've got the guy that runs Amazon, same deal. Well, He's in on all this as well. Not only that, he's the one that sent the fake space deal with all the models, the fake plastic models with the fake plastic faces, supposedly sent them up in a capsule to outer space, right? Got to have a special tool to open the door and everything, but somebody was filming it and they just opened the door and look out. And he's like, shut the door. So they shut the door. Then he gets his big fake tool out and pretends that he has to monkey around with all these big things, something like you'd maybe see on a submarine, to get the door open because this capsule just came from outer space. But the actors that were in it accidentally opened the door because there's like a little latch on the inside because there is no outer space and they didn't go there. And it just so happens that his spaceship looks like a giant penis. But this has nothing to do with the devil and the sex, does it? Every one of these people in this picture that are all chummed up to each other here have something to do with missing children and the eating of things you're not supposed to be eating, and disappearing this and disappearing that, and billions of dollars here and millions of dollars here, and everybody in the picture. And there, lo and behold, is the mayor. Do you think he's really a mayor? Or do you think he's an actor? He's an actor. He's the newest thing. Look at me. I'm dark-skinned. I've got dark hair. I'm not, you're normal. I maybe even have an accent. Maybe. And I'm a communist. And I'm going to come in and I'm going to get rid of all the white people. But he's not making those decisions. He's an actor. He's a thespian. He's acting. He's one of these actors. Okay? Just like old Bill there. Do you think he was really a president? Do you think he was really calling any shots? We know what he was doing spending his time, right? We remember all the stuff that happened with him and him messing around with his helpers and his, secretaries and, all of it was sex scandals constantly having sex problems. Well, no wonder. Every one of these guys is in the same deal. They're all actors. They're all devils. Just like old Gates there. Do you really believe that he's like smart? He's not. He's so smart. He came up with Microsoft Core. Wait no. Actually, no, he didn't. Now, somebody else came up with DOS, disk operating system, in Windows. Not him. He probably didn't know nothing about it. He somehow cheated the guy out of it and got it from him. Come to find out, never paid for it, according to the guy who actually invented it. These guys are puppets. They're clowns. They're not actually smart. They pretend that they are. So, same as Musk. They've interviewed the people who actually invented the Tesla, and he rooted them out. They wanted to fire him, and somehow he gets back in. It's just one time after another. It's like, oh, he's a genius. Didn't come up with anything. They're actors. Okay, so I just thought I'd throw that out there, this one too, because we've even got, because this Mandami, he's in the news again because, he's foreclosing on all these houses and making businesses pay outrageous taxes and stuff that nobody can pay, so they're losing their stuff in New York. So why the citizens of New York are allowing this to happen, I'll never know. I will never understand it. So they flee New York and go to places like, Florida and other places, and then allow or vote these same kind of clowns in. But again, did they really vote him in, or whoever counted the votes said he was voted in? It's kind of like over there in California. That's the same thing they're doing now. They've got the governor Newsom over there, same thing. They try to vote him out. They get a whole bunch of stuff, and all of a sudden it all disappears. Or same as the mayor over there, Bass, some woman, Democrat, lunatic, liberal, who, all your houses burn down and they won't allow you to rebuild them. That kind of stuff. And so they try to vote her out, and somehow all the votes stop and they count them, and like they're 25,000 votes short. And so then wait a few minutes, and then here comes a truck that's got another additional 25,000 plus only for her, just so she can get it in real quick. And then somebody wants to count the votes. Oh, no, you're not allowed to. It's a secret. Only we can see it. How dare you ask? And so then somebody wants to see the votes. Well, they're not really voted in. You see, it's whoever's counting the votes. Yeah, so they're left in positions to steal, kill, and destroy. That's their whole purpose, because they work for Satan. Satan's ultimately running it. They're devils. So, hopefully soon they'll be burning in hell for what they've done. They deserve it. Okay? All these on this picture I just showed you, and over there in California, they deserve it. In fact, one of the interesting deals over there in California, there's it's all over. It was Minnesota first, but there's a guy named Nick Sorter. He's actually the one who went over there and started filming it. And I mean, this stuff's been going on for years, and nobody wants to do or say anything about it. So he goes over there and films it, that all these things are fake. These leering centers, supposed to be learning. They're leering centers. They're all fake. They're 100% designed to launder money. Money laundering is what they are. So the people that are signing the checks and going in supposedly doing the verifications, they're multimillionaires. They're driving around in Lamborghinis, that kind of stuff, because the money goes to these places and they get their cut for allowing it to happen. And of course, Tim Walz, Tampon Tim as they call him, he's another lunatic who's an actor. He's not smart enough to come in out of the rain. And so they've got him hook, line, and sinker. So they can feed him a little money and they tell him what to say, and that's what he does. And, they call him Tampon Tim, if you don't know, because one of his biggest things that he's the most proud of that he's ever accomplished in his career of being a, fake governor is he managed to get a tampon machine that disperses tampons into the boys' bathroom. The boys' bathroom. He thinks that's he in his mind, in his demented devil mind, he thinks that's an accomplishment. He accomplished something good. Seriously. Now, if that doesn't tell you what kind of filth and demonic devil you're dealing with, I don't know what would. There's nothing that a little boy can do with one of those, so there's no need for them to be there. But in a deranged idiot devil mind, that's a good idea. It's a good idea to put feminine women's hygiene products in a boy's bathroom. Not the girls, the boys. Man, you talk about a smart guy. But I digress. He's as dumb as a rock. He's bought and paid for. He's a liar and he's a devil. He himself also will be burning in hell. All these that we're talking about here are hell-bound. They're going to be in hell like a bullet. Just like that. I personally think they deserve it. Don't even ask me to pray for them, okay? don't even ask. It's not happening. Okay? Now, I know there are probably some really good Christian people out there, and they're going to say, well, you should be praying for them. Pray for them, Kenny. Now I'm gonna let you do that. I tell you what, I'm gonna let you waste your time doing that. Okay? These guys are into the worst of the worst. These guys aren't just, stealing something or being dishonest about their taxes. Okay? And, getting mad at somebody. These guys are raping, stealing, killing, mutilating, and we're not talking about one or two people here. when you start adding up the stuff they're into that's unalived people, we're talking millions. Millions of people suffering. Lots of children. Majority of them probably children. And they get away with it. You know, I saw a statistic here a while back, you know, and it has to do with these guys here, talking about how in the ancient Roman days, back in biblical days, you know, they had lots of slaves. That we have like twice as many slaves today in 2026 as they ever had back in the Roman Empire. Twice as many. And half of all those slaves are sex slaves. A majority of them are children. That's today. Right here. But let's continue on with this fake put on that we're all Christians and we live in a Christian nation and we're founded on Christian principles, and so we're a good nation. And all these people you see here live right here in this nation. Okay? They're all right here. They're all over the United States. The United States is nothing but a cesspool. Okay? All these people are here and they're all getting away with it. So, yeah. And then, of course, you've got all your third world countries, all your other countries. You know, they use child labor for everything. And all these children, we're talking 10-year-olds and less, are sex slaves for these guys. This is the way it is. They literally capture whoever they want. They put them in these brothels, and they're sex slaves for life till they die. You know, or they're not getting any good anymore, and nobody likes them, so they throw them out. Then they kill themselves because it's like they can't do anything after that. That's what we have today in 2026. So, you know, and I keep hearing people say, oh, we're getting better. We're getting better. You know, it's getting better. We've got a lot better. Better? We haven't gotten any better. We're getting worse. Just like the Bible says, it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse and worse and worse until the end. And we're getting pretty close. Okay? We're in those birthing pangs, as the Bible calls it, where they get worse and worse and worse and more progressive. That's what we're seeing now. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. The stuff that's going on right now in the United States and other places, and you can't make it up. It's literally, it's an actor, it's like a movie playing the worst movie you've ever seen in your life that never gets any better. It just never ends. The never ending story, right? And here we are, stuck in it. So if a person like me does any praying, I pray that the Lord hurries up, doesn't tarry. Okay, hurries up and comes back. Because we need to put a stop to this filth. And it's getting to a point where a regular Christian isn't going to be able to live much longer because everything is poison, the air, the water, the food. I mean, everything. So you can only live so long when everything out there is poison. It's like, oh, we'll just grow your own food. Well, they're spraying the poison in the air. Yeah, but you could do this. Well, the seeds that you get now are modified. It's all GMO. You can't even do things, you know, and they're getting on to farmers for taking seeds and replanting them. That's against the law. You have to buy them from, it's just ridiculous. And it's not as bad here per se, but you start looking at stuff over there in Europe and stuff, what they're doing, it's unbelievable. It is unbelievable. It's coming here. It's a worldwide thing, and it's demonic. That's why it will be here soon. And if you don't think in America is demonic, I mean, look at California. All the actors over there, everything has to do with filth, all the porn over there, Nevada, legalized prostitution. I mean, that's the whole thing. That's what we do over here. I mean, it's horrible. We've got more missing kids over here than just about anywhere, I think. So, anyway, having said that, I wanted to just show you that these people are actors, and they're all tied together. Okay. Maxwell. You see, Maxwell, Epstein, Clinton, Gates, Bezos, Mandami, all in the same picture. They're always all in the same pictures. They're in the same groups. They all go to the same places. They're all buddies. That's why Gates there is never going to get in trouble for putting out all the snake bites and people dying, right? For pushing it. And pushing it in other third world countries, having all these little kids line up for it, which caused them all to be sterilized and most of them to die. Of course, hey, do whatever Bill says, right? Whatever Gates says, just do it. Go get your snake bite. Go get bit by a rattlesnake. Let your kids get bit by a rattlesnake because Bill Gates said so. Yeah. They're all in it together. They're all devils. The reason for that is Satan is running this world. He runs the earth. He's the prince over it. He's the prince over the power of the air. He's running the airwaves. That's why the news is fake. That's why all of Hollywood is filth. That's why they tell you everything opposite of what you thought was true. So think about that. Let me give you a piece of advice. If you hear something on the news and they're pushing it, Hollywood is pushing it, and all your fake stuff is pushing it, you need to do the opposite. Okay? So if Bill Gates and Trump and Biden and all the scientists come on, and then all the actors come on TV, you know, your big name brand A-list actors like, the big muscled up steroid heads that worship Satan openly, when they all come on and claim, they're like, you need to get bit by a rattlesnake immediately. Do it. What you need to do is the opposite and not get bit by a rattlesnake. You understand? Whatever they say, you should do the opposite. Almost across the board. I'm hoping you get that. If anything out of this, understand that. All of these people we're mentioning worship the devil openly most of the time. I mean, Elon Musk, he says he's an atheist. He doesn't believe in God. He dresses up in Baphomet with an upside down cross on his back. Okay? Your NASA guys, which are not in this picture here, but your NASA guys, your Artemis, your fake astronauts, your actors, right? Well, NASA, supposedly in Hebrew, means deceiver. But either way, you go look at their NASA deals. You've got your fake actor sitting there, and guess who? What you got a guy putting a granola bar in his pocket with a picture of Baphomet on his hand, and then satanic emblems. Of course. Why wouldn't you? That's what you worship. You're devil worshipers. Everything they do revolves around Satan. All of your big A-list actors, they will openly say, oh, Lucifer. They talk about Lucifer. They talk about the devil constantly. And then they go to their little Golden Globe Awards that they, prop themselves up with, where they all dress up. And of course, it's made into a temple with a bunch of emblems and stuff on the door from ancient Babylonian bull, pagan stuff. And it just so happens their little gold figure looks exactly like the little things they worshipped way back in biblical times. Identical. It's all demonic devils. They worship the devil almost openly. Keep in mind, not only does NASA advertise the Baphomet currently, we're not talking about 30, 40 years ago. We're talking about the fake Artemis. Okay, Artemis is another word for Diana. Diana is a fake pagan god that they worshipped in biblical times. They had full churches, they didn't call it a church, but like buildings. Well, it's on the tip of my tongue. for Diana. Okay. Saul in the Bible and these others got in trouble because they ran some of these people out or whatever that were worshiping Diana, and these people quit making little dolls or little figurines and whatever. And so these sellers are mad because they're trying to cut down Diana. Diana is Artemis. Okay. So the space deal is all pagan gods. All the fake planets are named after pagan gods. All of their so-called missions are all after pagan gods. And then they show you Baphomet currently in 2026, literally have a picture of Satan that they show you. If that's not bad enough, the guy that founded it, Jack Parsons, one of the, who founded JPL, which they still give millions and billions of dollars to, he openly worshiped the devil. He literally would have sex parties worshiping demons and the devil, trying to ask and beg for power and beg for knowledge to build rockets. Think about it. And then everything that NASA puts out there looks like a male appendage. You get it? So again, Hollywood, they worship the devil. They meet up in temples with devils all over the front. They give each other statues in honor of each other that is a pagan god back from Canaan in the Bible, right? They openly worship the devil. All these guys openly worship the devil. They have the devils. That's all they talk about is the devil. These are the guys that are telling you what to do. Christian. I mean, do I have any Christians out there? You're taking these guys' word over the Bible, Christian? So if the Bible tells you on page 1, the very first page of Genesis, that there is a firmament, you say no, there's not because these clowns told you there's not? What, because Musk said there's not? Mr. Baphomet himself? Oh, NASA said. NASA? The ones that worship the devil openly? And you as a Christian are going to sit here and say, oh, the Bible's not true. Musk is true. NASA knows. See, they didn't know anything back in biblical days, but NASA knows it now. Let me tell you what you're doing. You're doing exactly what the devil wants you to do. So again, if NASA, if the government, if a three-lettered government comes up, if any of Hollywood comes up and tells you to do something, if you're a Christian, you better do the opposite. If you have a brain in your head, you better do the opposite. Okay? I don't care what they try to scare you with on TV, because TV is fake. They're thespians. They're actors. Do you get it? You gonna believe an actor? A paid actor? Think about it, okay? I'm trying not to get... I'll try to come down here a little bit, okay? I can get worked up real quick because I'm surrounded by people who are supposedly Christians. But when you observe their life, they don't appear to be Christians. When you see what they put their faith in, they don't appear to be Christians. When you see how they act and what they do, they don't appear to be Christians. Not Christians that's in the Bible. Now, maybe some modern day Christian that can sit around and worship the devil, but I didn't know you could do that as a Christian. But these modern day Christians, that's what they do. They worship people on TV. They think it means something. They worship football. Okay? Now that's a touchy subject right there. That's sensitive. You don't tell a grown man in America that it's wrong to sit in front of a TV and watch a bunch of grown men in tights run around and get paid to throw a pigskin around. You don't mention that, right? Because, hey, football's important. It's important. Shut everything down for that screen. We've got to watch this guy run around in his tights. Now, the guy may go home and beat his wife, rape, kill, steal. Who knows? Who cares? Because he's got a ball in his hand. So that means he's important. So I'll spend days, weeks, months, years of my life glued to that and don't even think about the Bible. Don't even think about Jesus Christ who saved you, right? Of course, if you're that intent on these sports, you may not even be saved. Are you? Maybe. I'm not saying you can't do it. You can do it. You can watch TV. You can watch sports if you want. But there are also people who claim to be Christians who take it to the extreme. Okay? Keep in mind, it's a distraction. Now, you may not want to believe it. You may not understand that. But there's lots of things that can distract you from doing the right thing. Too many sports, too many drinks, too many bars. The list goes on and on. Too many movies, too many Hollywood movies. And I like movies. I'm not saying you can't watch a movie. Understand who's running the movies. Okay? Understand that. I'm not saying you can't listen to the radio. Understand who's in control over it. If you actually listen, or to even, of course, I'm an 80s guy. I like 80s music. But I'm absolutely repulsed by half of what they say. I never even knew it was filth until I got, saved, and I actually start listening to the stuff, and it's like, it's got a good beat, and I know the words, but if you actually start listening, everything they say is filth. It's about sex. It's about this. It's about that. Every one of them. Nobody can say anything any good. Oh, no. We can't have a song with good lyrics. It has to have filth. It's always filth. That's just the way it is. But anyway, I digress. I'm going to come down now and quit ranting and raving because that's what I like to do. If you've listened to the podcast up to this point and you're still here, well, you know that I like to rant and rave. Thanks for listening. I guess that's it today. It's hot out there today. It is hot. It is July 2nd. We're coming up on July 4th, so please have a safe 4th of July weekend. Don't drink and drive. I pray that you don't do any drinking. You don't need alcohol or drugs to have fun with your family. Now, if you're going to set fireworks off, don't hold them in your hand. It's dangerous. I'm going to go to the lake, hopefully, and watch some from a boat. It's not my boat. It's not my lake. It's not my fireworks. I'm just going to be there for free. But there won't be any alcohol or anything involved. It is a family deal, and there'll just be water and Coca-Cola, I guess, and dinner afterwards, and then fireworks. Anyway, so thanks for listening. Have a safe 4th of July. Like it, share it on Spotify, whatever. Remember, I am going to go down to Dallas to a TrutherCon, truthercon.com if you want to know about that. And I'll be selling these shirts down here. I've got these shirts. This is an example of one. I'm going to start wearing them because I've had them printed. So let me know what you think. Any questions, comments, email me, truthseekers2012@gmail.com. And thanks for listening. And you can find me on TikTok too under Flat Earth Man, and same logo. Can't miss it. Hunt me up. I'd like to talk to you. Any questions, anything like that, let me know. Thanks for listening. Till we meet again, God bless you.